Good day, everybody. And this is Dr. Arti, and I'm here to serve you with the glimpse of what we'll be discussing in detail during the upcoming webinar. Before I start with the outline, let me discuss the approach I'll be adopting towards this course as well as the clips. I believe before we jump to the detailed discussion, we need to make sure everybody's on the same page, especially the audience as students, by being acquainted with the basic terminology of the course, followed by the objectives and the course outline, so that you clearly understand where it's coming from. I will be discussing about PMS from the fourth module, but before that, we need to understand and be aware of the organizational goals, objectives, mission, vision for strategically planning the performance management system in the organization. Upon the completion of this topic, the student will be able to evaluate strategic options and make informed decisions about the effective management and evaluation of performance. In this clip, I'll be addressing the course from an entrepreneur perspective, diving into the importance of HR as an internal consultant for strategically planning the performance management system, keeping into mind the holistic success of the organization, by which I mean the individual, that is the employee, the team, the department, and eventually the entire organization as a whole. The idea is that the student should be able to apply the concept to reality, so we'll be using the case study-based approach followed by discussion during the classroom teaching. Everyone talks about formulating a successful business strategy, but none of them focus on the possibility of failure. So if now you take the time to identify and define the problems before jumping into action, you'll probably be able to provide a solution that meets the unique needs of the organization. And doing it this way will actually help you to solve the pain points more effectively and well in time, saving you beforehand. I won't say this would actually reduce the risk by 100%, but will actually give you ample of time to plan and come up with an alternate solution. Well, that's the approach I take towards life and takes towards everything new I do. Even for smaller dealings in my life, then why can't we do this for bigger ventures we want to invest into or bigger startups? So let's talk about problem identification and how do we do that? By conducting a proper in-depth and detailed research before you get into a business or you plan a startup. Problem identification involves the development of clear, straightforward problem statements that can be linked directly with the specific goals and objectives. And these statements should clarify how the problem be prevented and the goals be achieved. Well, what I mean is that you should know whys and hows in everything you do. And that's one of the qualities of an ideal entrepreneur. So if you're launching a business, the odds are against you and 2/3 of the startups never show up a positive return. Well, this is not me talking about it. It's the statistics that we talk about from the HBR. I discovered this article while one fine evening I was skimming the articles to satisfy my curiosity to understand the questions why a startup failed. Because how can I truly teach my students or research on the factors and talk about how to build winning startups if I wasn't sure why the startups fail? So I fortunately came across this amazing article in HBR, and so it basically focuses on the research this entrepreneur from the Harvard Business School talks about. He's a professor in entrepreneurship, and he, based on the interviews and surveys with hundreds of founders and investors and scores of accounts of entrepreneurial setbacks, his findings highlights the conventional wisdom that is the cause of startup failure, which is like one founding team or the business idea. So either of the two can be the reasons. He found 6 patterns that doomed the ventures, but just to keep in short, I'll be talking about 2 major causes discussed in his articles. The first is the bad bedfellow. You might be wondering what it is. The other parties that are involved, especially the employees, the strategic partners, the investors that can play a major role in the firm's demise, is what we call the bedfellows. And the second is the false start in his article, which means that many overlook a crucial step in the lean startup process, which is like researching customers' needs before testing the products. For example, an online startup organization, a shopping enterprise who's going online, they are generally in the rush of launching the fully functional offerings that they don't actually go for a research before or testing the customers before they launch the offering. So just to make sure it fits the market needs, that's what we call customization strategies coming into picture. And the good news is that firms can avoid the pitfall by rigorously defining the problems they want to solve, getting one-on-one feedback from the customers, potential customers, and validating the concepts with real customers in the real world. But I wonder, why don't we do that before we get into trouble and we lose a lot of funds when we start launching new startups in the competitive market all around. So I've shared the lecture outline for you to understand the flow of the presentation, and we'll be moving towards strategic management. I'll be concisely discussing various terms that play a crucial role in giving the understanding of strategic management and PMS. Strategic management involves developing and implementation plans to help a company achieve its business objectives, which is very, very important. And this can include building an annual strategy, planning organizational structures and resource allocation, leading change initiatives, and control processes and resources. So, before we start, we need to develop and plan for our strategies very well in advance. Strategic planning is all about defining strategies or directions and making informed decisions on the allocation of resources to attain the strategic goal through the plan. That's the main idea. And just to give you a brief of the terms we'll be using in the slides or in the clips or in the webinar, we talk about job description, which is they serve as a roadmap for what the individuals are supposed to do and what results will be obtained, like what results are supposed to be produced. They must align with the vision, mission, objective, and strategy of the organization and the unit. So I repeat again and again, it's very, very important to make sure your visions and missions are aligning together. Then we come to the HR function. The HR function can plan a critical role in creating and implementing the strategies that will allow the organization to realize its mission and vision, and even the individual employee. So specifically, the HR function can actually make the following contributions, like communication, clearly communicating the required roles and providing awareness to the employees. So the HR function can actually be a good conduit to the communication of various components of strategic plan, for example, vision, mission, goals, and objectives, to the employees, because they need to be very sure in mind what they're supposed to do in the organization. So the employees should be clearly aware of the policies and objectives so that they can align their individual goals with that of the organization. And if this doesn't happen, either the employee switches or resigns, or the organization might fire them. So because of the lack of satisfaction which they have on both the sides, both the ends. So then we eventually talk about implementation, which is a very important process of any plan that you make. The HR function thoroughly analyzes the work of the employee, so which is called work analysis, understanding the KSAs of the needed employee for the successful implementation of the strategic plans. So they can offer suggestions with the competencies which are what are required in the employees to be hired, and what training should be put in place after conducting the training need analysis for the employee, so they can perform better, they can be more productive. Then we talk about compensation, which is very, very important to motivate the employees, financial and non-financial. So the HR function can provide useful information on what kind of compensation systems should be implemented to motivate the employees to support the strategic plan. In addition to serving as a necessary guide for individual and team performance, clarity on the mission vision shows how the HR will design the performance management system. So again, time and again, we are supposed to go back to from where we start. So we start from the mission, vision, and goals, and then ultimately we go back making a feedback loop to check whether we have attained those objectives, goals, mission, and vision, or through the process or not. So the knowledge of the mission vision revolves around the plan and vice versa, and the vision resolves from the strategic planning process. This allows the HR function to serve as an internal consultant and make informed decisions about the PMS design choices. Then the next is, as per the outline, the environmental analysis, which identifies the external and internal parameters to understand broad issues related to the content and the industry where the organization operates. Decisions can be made in the backdrop of this broader context, but I might not go much in detail about this section, as this is already discussed by Ms. Shripriya. So I'll focus on PMS and other mission and vision more. So after the environmental analysis, the members must determine who they are and what they are doing to be incorporated in the mission statement, so that they are well defined about their roles. So coming to the main role play of the presentation and the clip, because I'm focusing again on mission and vision. So mission basically is the statement that summarizes the organization's most important reason for existence. So why does the organization exist? That's the most important question for anybody's identity, right? So they actually provide information on the purpose of the organization and the scope. So mission statements provide answers to the following questions. Like first can be why does the organization exist, which is a very important question. Second is what is the scope of the organization's activities and what are the offerings that they are giving to the customers. Third can be the possible probable question can be who are the customers to be served or targeted, and what are the products and services offered by the company. So a mission can actually include all the organization's values and beliefs also. So it talks about the ideology of the organization, but these can be sometimes separately listed in the organization. Depends upon which organization is planning their mission vision. So it depends upon the committee who's planning them. So moving towards vision, it's an organization's statement of failures that they would want to avoid in the future, and they want to be more aspirant. So the future aspiration of the organization basically is mentioned in the vision. So in other words, the vision statement includes a description of what the organization would like to become in the next 5 to 10 years down the line, and the problems they would want to avoid, they can keep in mind while designing the vision and mission. So because anytime I would always talk about thinking of the problems first, thinking of the failure first, so that you can make preventive measures to avoid those hassles in the path. So vision statements are typically written after the mission statement is completed, and the organization needs to know what their purpose is before they can actually figure out what they want to be in the future. So just to enhance your clarity on vision and mission, so I'll be talking about a few examples from the conglomerates or MNCs. So I'm picking up Microsoft as an example. So quote unquote, Microsoft's vision is to help people and businesses throughout the world realize their full potential. And then I come to Nike. So Nike talks about to bring aspirations and innovation to every athlete in the world. Then we come to Indigo. So the corporate vision of Indigo is to give a hassle-free travel experience on time flights with affordable fares. And the mission is Indigo is very price-conscious airlines, and passengers' safety is paramount to our company's mission. So if you look at these mission and visions, you would realize that the company is trying to figure this out in your mind. So whenever you want to buy the tickets or whenever you want to book your flights, the most important parameter which comes to your mind is the name of the flight, the name of the brand, right? So if I want to go for a flight which doesn't delay my fly and doesn't give me any hassle during the entire travel journey, and also gives me affordable prices for even the middle class to be able to handle the price, so I should also always think about Indigo. So it's a marketing strategy of positioning that brand in the mind of the customer. So whenever you think of buying something, that mind should tell you that you should buy this, or you should go for this kind of brand. So that name pops in your mind, and you're able to relate well. So this is all about the briefing on strategic management, planning, different terminologies, and mission and vision. And we'll be discussing much in detail in the webinar, in the face-to-face conversation virtually. And any kind of questions that you want to ask or you want to pose to me, you can please go through the presentation, the clips, and get back to me whenever you want to. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.